I'm Tim Hooper.
And I'm Mike Gandolfo.
And this is The Trust Factor,
where high touch
plus high tech
multiplied by high trust
equals the real estate professional's formula for success.
All right. Happy February, everyone. It's hard to believe we are February of 2026 already. Hope you are having an incredible start to the year.
Yes.
And Tim, I think you got an interesting topic for us today.
Well, actually, man, I think it's you who's unfortunately bringing this topic while I get to tee it up. It's a very important topic because we are in, and we can turn a blind eye to this if we want to, but according to the U.S. Surgeon General and according to mental health stats and according to probably if you just look around Walmart next time you walk through, the evidence is overwhelming. We are in a loneliness epidemic. And unfortunately, for many of us, that touches our very family, our very home, or our neighborhood street. And I think all of us just being able to pause for a second and realize loneliness does not discriminate. And the effects of loneliness could be social isolation. It could just be a bad attitude at its best. And it could be all the way down to something very tragic at its worst. And Mike, unfortunately, you've walked through this very recently. And so we're going to go here today because I believe that it only creates a depth of awareness that will serve all of us. Doesn't necessarily serve what we're trying to build and grow or the next house, but it's going to serve another human being, and it's going to make you aware when maybe we're doing something flippant and not zooming in where maybe we can. So Mike, I paused briefly and asked you, is this too soon? And you said no, because many people, we all know many people who have walked through it. So man, you just walked through this in your family and it's tough.
Yeah, I mean, I think so let me kind of shape this for the audience a little bit. So, and I told you off air this way that I always look at success. Number one, if you're watching this, you're interested in personal growth. You want to become better. You want to climb the ladder. And I think you got to realize that as you climb the ladder or climb the mountain's a much better analogy for what I'm getting ready to say. There are less people the higher you go.
Yeah.
And not only that, there are more people who are trying to pull you down. So you can, and I think in our business, one of the biggest threats is isolation and drift. And the higher you go, the more isolating it can feel if you're not intentional about it.
Yes.
And, there's people who will say, oh, that he's successful over there because of this or this, he's successful over there. Everyone wants to point fingers, whatever else. And there's not too many people at your level. And I truly believe that the higher you climb, those successful people actually probably feel more like they're number one, they're more isolated, but they're also feeling like they're capable of more. So they feel like they're failures. I think more successful people feel like they're always surprised when someone says, oh, you're so successful. It's like, and you're thinking, man, I could do so much more. I feel like I'm failing, and we lack the perspective of like actually what we have accomplished. And we're only focusing on like what we have the potential to really go do. So, as I say that, I remember in 2013, I was invited to a real estate conference that you at the time had to be invited to. Like they were going to make sure that they only had heavy hitter type agents in the room. And I'm sitting here like thinking like, all the self-doubt, because you talked about the before this episode and kind of to tee this episode about putting people up on pedestals, right?
Yep.
And I remember like thinking like, I don't belong in this room. The imposter syndrome was real. I mean, It was very real. And you had to get into that room and make sure it was a safe space, because we had some really good conversations just to realize that every single person in that room was severely screwed up in some way, shape, or fashion. Like, and I'm saying that not to say like, oh, successful people are screwed up. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say we are all broken.
Yes.
Every single one of us are broken people who are dealing with our stuff.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
There's not a single person listening to this podcast is like, nope, life's perfect. Life is good. We are all dealing with some level of stuff.
Right.
And it comes and goes, right? And we just got to have the support system in place in order to have perspective and to work through things together.
And I love the way you said a few things there. As you climb the mountain, the isolation can happen if you're not intentional, because it is your choice. And you just mentioned you're all in the room working, dealing with your stuff together. And that's another key component. I believe that you can absolutely we're all broken. And I believe we all have stuff. And I think you could be successful, very successful with stuff. But I think at some point, it all crumbles down if you haven't dealt with your stuff. Mm-hmm. I think healthy successful looks like I'm broken and I'm dealing with my stuff. I'm like, and I'm doing it together in togetherness, where unhealthy successful looks like I have stuff I'm not dealing with and I'm unwilling to ever do it together. That creates isolation. And all successful, I think, people end up being put on pedestals, whether that's out of fear, intimidation, or just people just like, I could never do that. That's amazing. And so the person who's not healthy and not dealing with their stuff, they end up getting in the spotlight and burning up. Whereas the person who's healthy, dealing with their stuff in honesty with their group, with their people together, they will get on the pedestal, and every chance they get, they will shatter the pedestal. They'll shatter the pedestal. It's almost like there's this refusal to ever go there, be put on a pedestal. So I would just, and here's the thing, the healthy, successful person, when you come into their life, they actually are relieved when you don't put them on a pedestal and you just treat them like another human being. Does that make sense? So here's Absolutely. Where it kind of segues into, you may have somebody who's intimidating, but they seem checked out. They seem like there's something, or maybe you just get this like spirit leading gut level. You need to I'm using you as a voice to say something right now. Like, what do you do with that? Like, what's the question? How do you even open that door? And it's not always like an open door and everyone's like, oh, thanks so much for asking that question. Like, you totally helped me right now. It might just be opening the door to like, it's not so lonely. You're not in isolation. But I believe there's a question that we all can at least listen for or be aware that maybe it's a time to ask that question. So, but Mike, I don't know if you want to frame it more with some of the story or what's going on, but I think, yes, understand we're all broken.
Yeah, we're all broken, and I think going back to just the intentional things around what we're doing, and this is where I think this parlays off of the episode we did before. The personal connection and the relationship that we're trying to get you to have with your clients, and using technology as something that bridges people together, is not just for your client. I'm amazed at how many times I write personal notes to people, and they'll call me and say, "Hey, really thank you for your note. I don't even know what I wrote in the note," right? They're like, "I really appreciate you thinking of me and sending me a note. I just really needed to have some encouragement today." But meanwhile, I'm going through my day thinking, okay, who are the 2 to 3 people that I've interacted with that I need to show genuine, so when I'm writing a note, it's genuine appreciation and gratitude is always number one. What do I need to celebrate about that person? Or what do I just need to acknowledge and just say and exist in space with that person around, right? And that's where the sorrow kind of stuff comes in, and just show up in those ways. And so like your client base, you can, when you decide that you want to have relationships with people, your client base, and this is very true for if you're in title, if you're in mortgage, or if you're a real estate agent. We are all interacting with human beings who are going through stuff. Make them feel valued, make them feel seen. Meanwhile, if you're approaching your day with gratitude, you're going to feel you're going to change your mindset, and you're going to have a different perspective. And then finally, like if I don't go to that event in 2013, I don't meet the guys that I, call my board of trustees. And
Wow.
it put me in the right peer group that I needed to be with. And my peer group, when we started, I was the only I just started my brokerage. I was the only independent broker owner. Now every single one of us is an independent broker owner.
Wow.
But when they go back and they talk about the 10 years of our group being together and having our weekly calls and going on our retreats, and we just celebrate New Year's together, they're going to tell you that the power of the group was sometime in that 10 years, each and every one of us was going through the thick of the stuff, right? And that's shown up in religion, that's shown up in marriage, that's shown up in being a parent, that's shown up in being a business owner, it's shown up in health, it has shown up in every single circle out there. And the other guys in the group have been there to help get the guy through the stuff.
Get it through the stuff. Wow.
You got to have your group of people.
Yeah.
And that's why prioritizing those relationships are so important, because if you don't, you are going to wake up, you're going to feel like you're doing for everyone else. You're going to feel isolated. You're going to feel like you have no genuine relationships, that you're not being served.
Yep.
And bad things, that cancer that's festering in you could be just as bad as an actual medical cancer that's festering in you. And it could have the same kind of terminal result.
Yeah. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and to watch it play out, I think we see it happens, and it's like, wow, it's unfortunate. Then you see it happen to somebody close or a family member, and it just sets you reflecting. It sets you thinking about choice. And here's the thing, it all boils down to choices you make today. And I know we're focusing this towards everybody, like put your oxygen mask on first. I've been on like 5 planes than that with the connecting flights, but 5 different destinations this last week, and got to take my kids. And every time they did the thing, I looked over and I said, do you know why they tell you to put your oxygen mask on first? And so, Kaylee's like, no, why? I'm like, well, because like, if you're trying to help me and then you run out of oxygen, you didn't get mine on or yours on. And so we both die. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's wow. And so, this is, we're talking about like, it's your choice. Like, go be in the room to get vulnerable, to open yourself up. Go to this could be your 2013 moment that then creates that board of trustees out of your life. Like, say yes to some. There's probably somebody coming through your life right now, designed and called to come through your life right now to open the door to this for you, if you're aware of it. So take care of yourself, put your oxygen mask on. But I think there's a flip on this, where you have your oxygen mask on and you could be aware of those people who are
grabbing you, trying to pull you down
for oxygen. And sometimes we're like, you lose in our minds. If we're not healthy, maybe it's like, or we're just not being aware. It's like, you're either looking at somebody as maybe a loser, or maybe it's even like more of an attack. And you're like, what, why? And really, but I think too, it's not necessarily those people, even it's the ones we don't even recognize, but they're inwardly lonely or hurting. And I think just being able to ask a question of, not kids still in sports, or how you doing, or how's work going. Those are all like doing things. I think the heart question that we could all slow down sometimes and actually hold space with somebody, just say, like, look some in the eyes, like almost uncomfortably, and say, Mike, how are you? Man, how are you? Like, even body language, like stepping aside, and like you're at this big event and you're just like, man, that person is, they're in and out. I just don't, and you just sense this drawing towards, I mean, I'm telling you, this is real stuff. You sense this, like, and you go over there, hey, Rich, kind of step over to the side, out of the traffic, right? And it's like, how are you? And be willing to hold that space and even hold that tension with somebody,
where it's not just a nicety, right? It's not
for
just,
them
hey,
to
how you
actually,
doing?
for them to almost just in that moment get a little sliver of hope that somebody saw them. There are some very lonely people in the crowd. I've been that person. I've been that person. And so being willing to go and say, how are you? If you're a brokerage owner out there, you've got people in your care.
Yep,
Simon Sinek says
absolutely.
it's not about being in charge. It's about taking care of the people in our charge. If you're a dad or a mom out there, you have kids in your care. If you're anybody listening, there's people in your care. Be willing to go there with the question, how are you? Catch me up on you. How are you doing? How are you feeling? I mean, that's hard for some of us guys to ask each other. But I would say, make sure you can crack the door if you're sensing something and be willing to offer oxygen mask, because there are people who are successful and lonely and maybe festering, and maybe cancer's about to take over and destroy them. And the ripple effect of that is rough.
And I'm going to leave you guys with an image today. Well, I think this is very impactful, and we can kind of keep it to a good 20-minute episode today. But, too many of us are operating, if this is our cup of what we got to give, they're operating on an empty cup, or a cup that is very close to empty. At the end of the day, like, we literally have got to pour into ourselves. Like, we've got to fill our cup intentionally, because now I got this much to give to my family, to give to my career, to give to everything else. But everything's taking from this cup. What are we doing to fill the cup? And who am I asking to fill my cup? Because those are things that are just super, super important. You've got to have the right people filling your cup, and you've got to have the right things filling your cup. Because what they say, garbage in, garbage out. It's not just food. It's not just, it's everything. You've got to make sure that you're in the right groups with the right people who are supporting you, and don't be afraid to ask for someone to fill your cup. And I hope that we, as part of the show, can help fill your cup.
Yeah. Intentional, and be intentional about who's pouring into you. Be choosy about who's pouring into you. But if they're pouring into you, if you're allowing them to be, allow them also to see you. Like, truly see you. And if you're in a group like that, you're blessed. If you're not, hopefully this creates a desire. And we just ask, you go be willing, just have the willingness to open up to somebody you trust, to go ask for the oxygen. And if you are in well, we're all leaders. I would say, if you're in a leadership role, we're all leaders. I would just say, look around you and just be aware maybe of those people who are isolated, who seem like the loneliest person in the crowd, and just, be aware and just follow. I don't say force this, don't force this, but just follow the intuition, the leading, to ask, be willing to ask the question, how are you? You never know. You never know. I mean, this is about real estate. This is about business. But, at the end of the day, real estate and business don't exist without lives. And at the end of the day, this is about life. And this is about living life to the full. And I believe there's abundant life for everybody. Not just a life to survive, but a life to truly thrive. And if those around you aren't thriving, like, maybe it's our role to pull, how are you? And offer the oxygen, but then go plug up to your oxygen too.
Yeah, love it, man. All right. Well, we will wrap it up here and talk to you guys next time here on Trust Factor.
Bam.
The Trust Factor podcast is available wherever you get your podcast. You can even watch us on YouTube.
And subscribe to the channel so you can comment and drop your questions and share it with your team.